Hey everyone, I'm in the afterlife. I guess I died at the end of the last video and wound up here. I've been hanging out with these girls in the meantime. That one in blue is very judgmental.
Look upon me, mortal. Look upon
me and, this stupid little megaphone, always breaking when I need it the most.
Oh my gosh, it's the guy from The Sims.
Ugh, my reputation from that blasted game precedes me. You'd think doing that stupid Cartoon Network show would get me more recognition, but no. I'm just the guy who comes to collect the souls from your Sims when your negligence gets them killed. Anyway, you are Lily, is that right?
Well, that is part of my username, but most people call me Lucy.
Then how do you explain this Twitter account of yours?
Oh, that's the Vocaloid fan account I made back in my anime phase. Good times.
Well, Lily, I'm afraid I can't take you into your final destination just yet. You died just a little too early. As a matter of fact, only by a couple hours. But don't worry, I will come to claim you soon enough. Until then, you must return to Earth and visit your final resting place. Cheerio!
Oh, okay then. Bye girls. See you when I review the Toho franchise. By the way, what was that about dying in a couple hours? Whoa! Ouch. Hey, this isn't the white void I usually do my video skits in. Huh? Who's there? Oh my gosh. You're Lily from Crystal Maze. Huh, I guess the Grim Reaper got us confused. So Crystal Maze was one of my absolute favorite games to play as a kid. Back when I didn't have any video game consoles, WildTangent games were a huge source of entertainment for me. So since we have a couple more hours to live, let's talk about this game. As I said, Crystal Maze is an old WildTangent game where you control this girl named Lily. She's trapped in a series of mazes and being hunted by everything inside them. The only way for her to escape is to collect every single gemstone in a stage, which allows her to move on to the next one. Sounds simple enough? Let's take a closer look. This title screen here may look simple, but you have no idea just how much nostalgia it exudes. We have Lily on this little island over here and some bad guy on this one. The bad guys are all themed after monsters from different time periods, and Roman soldiers. We can see them under the help section. There's also the unbeatable Reaper. Guess not even the game itself knows if he's beatable. According to the game's description, he's called the Dream Reaper, and Lily somehow got trapped in the land of Nod. He's trying to capture her and sending his minions to get her. Now, the land of Nod is a place to the east of Eden in the book of Genesis where Cain is exiled after murdering Abel. Geez, Lily, who did you murder to wind up here? But it's also used as an expression to refer to someone drifting off to sleep, like they're nodding off. The phrase was famously used in a poem called The Land of Nod by Robert Louis Stevenson. It's about a dream world some kid goes to every night. It's actually kinda sinister for a poem with such childlike whimsy to it. The strangest things are there for me, both things to eat and things to see, and many frightening sides abroad, till morning in the land of Nod. Try as I like to find the way, I never can get back by day, nor can remember plain and clear the curious music that I hear. Now this certainly sounds like a fitting poem for this. I'm sure he meant the land of Nod is so awesome that the kid doesn't want to go back in the morning, but still, those final lines are kinda ominous. This game isn't likely trying to be biblical with this, but it's still funny to think of Lily being sent here because of some great sin she committed. The Grim Reaper chasing her is part of her divine punishment. Though it's kinda strange that this is supposed to be about one land in particular when we travel through ancient Rome, ancient Egypt, Maya civilization, and a Hawaiian volcano. This sure is one all-encompassing land. We start off in ancient Rome, but the first level seems to put us in space. The background is a little mesmerizing in all honesty. Roman soldiers are marching around and trying to kidnap Lily while she snags every gemstone she can find. This first stage is really easy and just shows off what you can do. If you grab this power-up, the gems become big and give you more points. You wait for these moving platforms to carry you, then you grab this invincibility power-up that lets you eat the enemies. This especially big one is guarding a food item, which can give you bonus points. You have to be strategic when you grab any sort of power-up because you have to use them at just the right time. For example, use invincibility to eat the enemies that are especially hard to get around. If you don't eat anyone or fail to kill any especially hard ones, you can consider the power-up wasted. And in this, you absolutely have to try and get as many points as you can, so make sure you actually collect the gems after maximizing them. This is because you get an extra life if your score is high enough. These will be monumental for surviving the future stages. However, the game has a few flaws with this format. First of all, there are 3 different pause screens, and the instructions don't tell you what the commands for each of them are. Q gives you the option to quit, P just simply pauses, and O gives you options. Not sure why they couldn't all have been on the same screen. I've mentioned games that don't have pause buttons, but this game has too many pause buttons. And if you press E or I, she'll shout woohoo. Additionally, pressing spacebar will take you out of full screen mode for some reason. But anyway, if you have to close the game, for the love of every deity, make sure you quit to the menu. Don't just assume there isn't an option to quit because you opened the wrong pause screen. If you close the game without quitting, it will not save your progress. I learned this the very, very hard way. Furthermore, you can only choose from the tutorial in every 3rd level from the stage select screen, and the game does not remember how many lives you had. If you have to leave and come back, they send you back in with only 2 lives. For the average player, that will not be enough to get through the last several stages. Because they're so much harder, it's also hard to rack up enough points to get more lives, so you might have to try and complete this game in one sitting. It isn't the hardest game in the world, but the later stages can be frustrating. Either way, let's focus on the first few. So for some reason, once you grab every gemstone, no matter where you are in the stage, the enemies will stop trying to capture you and you'll move on to the next one. I suppose this is part of the divine agreement with Lily's exile. If she takes all the gemstones, just let her go.
Hey, can I eat you guys?
Sorry, we just grabbed all the gems.
Aww.
But the second level puts us in a Roman temple, and we can really see how cool the stage designs are. They really reflect each setting they're trying to be. We also have a new power-up that lets you run super fast, which comes in handy when working your way through enemies with annoying patrol routes. The bigger enemies are usually stationary, but they'll pursue you if you get too close. They're usually guarding bonus points or extra lives, so you have to risk your life for those. Sometimes items are hidden in crevices too, so make sure you're squeezing into every lily-shaped hole you find. Oops, that was a trap. But in the 3rd stage, the Aqueducts of Augustus, we have a clock that slows enemies down. And yes, some items bounce around and you have to chase them. And like I said before, you have to use the clock wisely. Sometimes you'll slow enemies down while they're walking over a crystal you need. You do want to be fast, because guess what happens if you take too long? The Grim Reaper shows up. Oh, sorry, I meant the Dream Reaper. Yeah, if you take too long to complete a stage, you hear this sound as the Reaper floats in. Then he chases you with his finger to give you his infamous touch of death. I gotta mention, as big of a pain as he can be, the Reaper was my favorite aspect of this game as a kid. My older sister used to play The Sims, so I'd mess around with her families and sometimes cause the Grim Reaper to visit whenever a Sim would die. Between these 2 games and The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, I got very used to seeing the Grim Reaper growing up. As such, I had a bit of an obsession with him for a time. That was before I discovered the Tails doll and developed a new monster obsession. Never forget the monsters that made us. Anyway, the death animation is kinda funny. You wanna know what Lily has to say after receiving the Grim Reaper's divinely murderous touch of death? Imagine being killed by a supernatural entity and that's all you can say, as if you're being mildly inconvenienced. You know, I think I get it. Lily is an unnaturally strong individual who can withstand even the touch of death itself. That's why the Reaper wants to kidnap her. He wants to study her power, or even harness it for himself, or even develop a new and even more dubious way to get rid of her once and for all.
Wow, you're a lot smarter than you look.
Oh gee, thanks Mr. Reaper. Ah! Run, Lily! He wants to harness your power! But as a side note, I love how the aqueduct stage actually looks like a Roman aqueduct, with the water and everything. You'll see throughout the game that the developers did everything they could with the limited assets they had. It's really impressive. Also, don't be worried about these moving platforms crushing you. You just phase through them. You should actually stand beneath them. They'll automatically pick you up if they land on you. But I understand being cautious. Lives are more precious than any of these crystals. Thankfully, some stages are generous with them. They either give you hearts directly, or they give you enough bonuses to rack up points. I also wonder if the collectibles are sweets as a reference to the food mentioned in the poem we read. Probably not, but still interesting. But if bonuses are what you want, every section ends with a bonus stage. Here you just grab speedy shoes and point multipliers before grabbing as many bonuses as you can before the time runs out. These stages are nice because they're basically guaranteed extra lives. They're a very welcome breath of fresh air. They're also a sign that we're moving on, so welcome to ancient Egypt. Now we have to worry about mummies. The gems are green now too. We also get some nostalgia-inducing music here. Yeah, the soundtrack in this game is great. However, these stages are a lot harder and you're more likely to invoke the Reaper. Whoa, missed me by that much. You really have to time yourself. Some enemy routes are designed specifically to trap you. You might find yourself cornered in between two or backed into a wall with nowhere to run. Tricks like those hardly seem fair, but you have to evaluate the map before making any moves. There's nothing worse than doing really well in a stage, only for the level design to throw you into an inescapable position. Right, Lily? Wait, don't go over there! Ow! Shoot, they got her. Thankfully, dying can sometimes help you. It sucks to lose a life, but it might get you out of a tight spot by bringing you back to the start of a stage. If you've collected all the gems in a difficult region, it can help you escape without having to run through everything all over again. The Reaper's clock is reset whenever you die too. For how simple this game seems to be, there is an awful lot of strategizing that goes into it. Deciding when to grab certain power-ups or when to sacrifice one of your lives. As long as you have lives to spare, there's no harm in using them to your advantage. But yeah, as fun as it can be to run through these different labyrinths, it can be a real pain when you have to sit back and watch an enemy's route so you can react accordingly. Sometimes you have to stay one space away from them and make a very narrow dodge. Those shoes that make you faster will come in handy with these. And sometimes you'll be running down a path for a while before an enemy comes up at the end of it. Then you're in for a chase. Other times, you have to follow right behind an enemy and move out of the way at just the right moment. Again, there is a lot of strategizing that goes into this. While the Egypt stages aren't the hardest in the game, they are the first serious taste of difficulty. They're fun to navigate though. I like how they shake up the color scheme in the Pyramid to Ra stage. Keeps it from getting too monotonous. The one frustrating design aspect that's gotten me killed more than a few times is that sometimes it's hard to tell when a platform is reachable. It might look like you can run up a step, but it's actually 2 pixels too high for you. It isn't always obvious and can lead to you cornering yourself. This issue gets worse as the game goes along and even more enemies become present, and even tighter spaces nonetheless. I also love how Egypt's bonus stage is called the Crumbling Vault with an exclamation mark. Hey look, it's the Crumbling Vault! Ain't that exciting? Then it's on to Mesoamerican civilization. You're being chased by 4-legged monsters here. Hate to break it to you, Lily, but I don't think these ones are trying to kidnap you. I think they just outright want to eat you. It also took me a moment to realize these are supposed to be trees in the background. I just thought it was very nasty water. As can be expected, this is where the game gets especially hard. There are far more traps for you than in previous stages too. These ones require more strategizing than the ones before them. You gotta take it slow while all your enemies are moving fast. These can be some of the most stressful levels to get through, especially the Lost Temple one where you have to work around 2 monsters that are running across very narrow bridges. But after the bonus round in the Palace of Palenque, we go to hell. What, Lily was already sent east of Eden. It's probably where she'll wind up.
Actually, I'm thinking doo-wop for her. I got her in the mummy stage.
But in actuality, we're in a volcano in Hawaii. Know how I know this? One of the stages makes a reference to the goddess Pele. You're also being chased by tiki monsters. They're big and really hard to avoid. With all the ones that chase after you and opportunities to be cornered, these are some of the worst levels to try and survive in. My platform distinguishment issue is also extremely apparent here. There are so many different layers you need to run on while being chased. This obstacle in Midnight Island is terrible because this big orange tiki is chasing you, but you need to wait for this platform to move to get away from it. Obstacles like these are the worst to deal with. But once you reach the bonus stage in Skull Mountain, you might be led into a false sense of security. The tikis are the last enemies listed on the menu, so you might think this is the final stage. If that's the case, you are tragically mistaken. As a matter of fact, you're only about halfway through. Now we're back in Rome, and the enemies are much bigger. Don't play this game expecting a quick little adventure. You're in for a long ride. Still, the Rome stages are kinda easy. I like the lighting in the Gardens of Geranium stage. The stages still have creative aspects to them, such as the different structures you can see, so they didn't just reuse every asset from the first run. I appreciate that. The bonus stage is also interesting because it gives you invincibility and allows you to eat all the giant guards for bonus points. It's a lot of fun. Then it's on to the mummies again, then back to Mesoamerica. These new stages really just entail you running across narrow bridges while avoiding the monsters that are all over the place. Prepare to be chased. But as can be expected, the tiki ones are significantly harder. There are just too many layers to run onto. But we're in the home stretch, so we just have to endure the last few levels as best as we can. Make sure you've gathered enough lives, because it's gonna be tough. Even outright unfair at times. Just look at this. Literally, what could I have done here? Oh yeah, if you die, you can enter your name and have your score recorded. Back in the day, you had the option to post it online for everyone to see. Can't do it anymore though. Maybe that's a good thing, because people don't need to know how much I struggled with this Immortal Path level. Look at this guy. He is absolutely insufferable to deal with. Still, when you reach the final level, Bridge to the Stars, it is extremely satisfying to get invincibility and devour all those tiki monsters. Funny how there are 49 levels rather than 50. A little unexpected, but you'll just want to be done by the time you reach this point anyway. Then in the credits, you get a postcard of Lily enjoying a tea party with the Reaper. Guess they made up after all that. What a happy ending. Then we see all the characters standing together to thank you for playing. Then we unlock Expert Mode. Yeah, maybe we should avoid this one. Enemies are just a little too fast for me. And that brings us to the end of Crystal Maze. So, what can be said about this? To be honest, it's fantastic for what it is. There's an incredible amount of detail, and a lot of the stages require a good bit of thinking to get through. It can get frustrating from time to time, but it's still really enjoyable. Aside from the nostalgic value, I can still see modern audiences getting a kick out of this. Many of the stages are fun to go through, and the ones that aren't are satisfying to figure out. The backgrounds are cool, the music is good, and the game makes the most of its format. I'd go as far as to say this is one of the greatest games to come out of WildTangent. There's a reason it's so popular. My child self really enjoyed this, and it's really fun to go back to as an adult. Good job, developers. So anyway, I have a video skit to wrap up, so let's go defeat the manifestation of death itself.
Aha! I've almost perfected the way to kill this girl who seems to be immune from death. Soon I shall prove that no soul is safe from my ultimate judgment.
Hey, let her go, you stupid bag of bones.
Or what? You're gonna sick that golden doodle of yours on me?
No, actually, I've got an even better idea. See, while you were busy talking about your evil plan, I collected every gemstone in this room.
What?
You know the rules, Death. If all the crystals are collected, you have to let Lily go.
Why did I ever agree to that stupid rule in the first place? Those dreaded deities and their divine regulations for death. Fine, Lily, you're free to go, but I'll get you next time.
Glad we got that sorted out. Now how about we head back to my place and have a tea party?
You know, I could really use that. It's been a long eternity.
So, where am I going after I die? Heaven, hell, or a sillier third place?
You're bound for the Sumerian underworld. Just make an offering to Eresh Kigal and you should be shown mercy.
Oh, well, could be worse, I guess. Anyway, I think that's going to do it for this video. Hope you all enjoyed that, and try not to find yourself being chased by the Grim Reaper anytime soon.
I resent that.
So for the time being, be sure to subscribe, follow me on the accounts in the description below, and tune in to our next installment. Thank you for joining me. I will see you in the next memory. Lily, don't fear the Reaper. His touch will only give you moderate pain. He won't get very far. Come on, Lily, don't fear the Reaper. Even in Nodland, don't fear the Reaper. You're unable to die. Don't fear the Reaper or the Tiki Man.
Needs more cowbell.